Alaska again? Last year she went to Alaska. So, I don't know.
This was another trip, because I remember her saying something like she'd be on the beach, and we were like.
Yeah, so maybe, yeah.
Joby,
It's not Alaska.
Not fair, she should take us with her.
I know, right?
We can have a travel expense, right?
Yeah.
A board junket?
A little team building.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of your first name, and I was like, oh, yeah, she's got a sign, I should.
Yes, we got her sign.
You have my last name wrong.
That isn't?
Oh, I did not catch that.
Yeah, you
yeah.
have it right on my folder, but.
Yeah, I don't do those, so, yeah, I'll get a new one made.
I'm gonna have it right with it. The common misspelling.
It is he.
Yeah,
So
we
1,
do
2,
last
3,
name
4,
in
5,
our district.
6.
But the end is AR.
Oh, and Mike's here too.
Yeah. So it's,
You still here, Mike? Uh-oh.
I'm here. No, I'm here. Sorry, I have it on mute, so I'm not making too much noise here.
Oh, okay, no, it's okay.
Like, I
Okay.
couldn't figure out how to turn it off of mute.
Oh, sorry. Take the table. Okay, it looks like it's 7 o'clock, so, I call this meeting to order. Let's begin with roll call, please.
Dan?
Here.
Carlin?
Here.
Becky? Here. Jane? Here. I know, I'm going out of order. Patty?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
Heather? Here. Goldie? Chris? Leanna?
Okay, is that everybody? Okay. Okay, so, public comments, we have a visitor, do you need Mark?
No, that she's.
No comments? Okay, okay. Okay, the first thing on our agenda is the consent agenda. Did everybody get the, closed session meeting minutes to look at? That's included in the consent agenda, okay? Any questions? Okay, do I hear a
Yeah.
motion? You have a question?
No.
Or you-
Nope. I just said I've got it.
Oh, okay, okay.
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay. Oh, Mike, are you saying something, or are you just?
No, sorry, just clearing my throat.
I'm sorry, I don't always hear everything clearly, so I just want to make sure you're not trying to consult with us about something. All right, take a vote,
Nope.
please. Okay.
Dan?
Yes.
Carlin?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Jane?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes?
Mike?
Yes.
Heather? Yes.
Becky. Did you vote?
I know, I'm in the middle.
Is that everybody? Okay, all right. Okay, so motion carries. The next item is approval of the fiscal year 26 meeting dates and locations. That was in your packet. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions? I know it was in here.
Right after the,
It's where?
it's right after the,
There it is. Jackie's got it.
Yeah,
I had it earlier.
check it.
Okay.
It's in there.
Yeah, okay, anybody have any problems or questions? The only question I had is that you said that there was a problem, are we still?
They were doing the road construction last year.
Yeah, I know,
and
but you
so-
said there's something on the agenda
Yeah,
about Leighton. and-
Yep, she actually, requested it like last minute. I actually had that for a different branch, and so I just switched it around last minute because she had requested.
Okay.
Would like for us to come back in July,
Okay,
which is the best month for her.
oh.
yeah, because she doesn't have, yeah.
I was
okay.
wondering, because normally we do, Lexington, I think, or is it August that we do Lexington?
We switch between Warrensburg and Lexington, the county seats,
Okay.
because that's when we do our tax levy
Oh,
hearing.
yeah,
Yep.
okay.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second? motion has been made and seconded that, we accept the list of meeting dates for the next fiscal year. Any discussion? Okay, let's have a vote.
Mike,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Heather,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Patty,
Patty?
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Carlton.
Yes.
Okay, is that everybody?
Mhm.
Yes, okay, motion carried. All right. All right, our next thing is, we have an application for the foundation board. And we need to look at that and see if we'd like to appoint them as the board member for the foundation.
I had 2 people interested that had reached out, but I only ended up receiving 1 application, so.
Can you remind me what the foundation board is?
So we have a foundation, and so the board is kind of like this board does, but it's with the foundation.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they're kind of, I think you're gonna, and, Bobby back here is on the foundation, but I think they're getting ready to look at their bylaws and kind of, look at their goals and everything on what they're actually, gonna be doing moving forward, so.
And so is their main job to, like, manage a savings you guys have, like a financial
Yes,
thing?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yep,
they're,
yep.
don't come in, and then, they're in charge of that, and,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Have you met this person, or
I have
has
not.
any?
I know Deanne.
Oh, you do, okay.
Fine.
Okay.
Okay.
She's a retired teacher, and
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I don't know her well, but I know her from school.
She was at Holden,
And, so I had Cheryl McMullen, which is the president of the foundation board, and, she, wanted to know if we wanted any input on the applicants and everything, so I said, yeah, sure, you know. But anyway, she did say that she had spoke to her and, that she seemed very interested in serving on the foundation board and working with them, so,
Yeah, they've been without us
for a while.
for a little while, so.
So this board appoints members to their board, but it doesn't have to go to the commissioners.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
You guys are the commission in this situation.
Except we don't have any money.
Yeah.
True. Okay, anybody else? All right, do I hear a motion?
I move we accept, Deland Lewis for the foundation board. A second.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded that we accept, is it Deland, is that how you say it?
Deanne.
Deland, okay, Deland Lewis, as a member for the Trails Foundation Board. More discussion? All right, please, let's vote.
Mike,
Yes.
Becky, yes, Heather,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Carlton.
Yes.
All right, motion has carried. All right, and then, yeah, the next item is, an applicant for the upcoming vacancy on the Lafayette County, side of the Board of Trustees. That'll be, and
Yes,
that'll be in at the end of, or like July,
yeah,
starting in
July 1 is
starting
when
in
it would
July.
go into effect, yes.
Okay, yeah. And so then this has to still go through the
To the
commission and back and whatever, so that gives it time to do that.
And I did bring the letter this time, in case you guys do approve it, so that way I don't have to chase you guys
Oh.
for signatures, so.
Okay, that's great. Okay, anybody have any questions or anything?
Do you know her, Patty?
I do know her, yeah, I mean, I don't know her really well either, but she's active in the community, and she does a lot of stuff for, St. Paul's High School, and, you know, her husband runs a business in the town, so and she's in the library all the time, I mean, not all the time, but I see her in the library quite often, so she's, you know, she has her grandkids in there, and she's, yeah, she brings up programs and stuff, so I think she would do okay.
I will move to accept the application for Rhonda Bierman.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to accept Rhonda Bierman as, an applicant for the, or let's see, not, what did you say, as?
To recommend, to recommend
Yeah,
appointment.
to recommend that we appoint Rhonda Bierman as to serve on the Board of Trustees for Lafayette County. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote.
Mike?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Heather?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes,
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes.
okay,
Can I just make one comment?
sure, just one.
Where is Chris Philpott?
I have not heard from her.
I've had that same thought.
I think the last time that, I think it was either email or text. And, I think she had told me then that she wasn't gonna come, but I think that was 2 months ago.
It's been a
I'd have to
couple,
look
she's
back
been
and
at
see.
least two,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
this is at least the third meeting that she hasn't been. It might be more than that.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah,
I was just wondering, does she pick up her packets at the?
I don't know, but I can certainly check on that.
She wasn't here in March,
Okay.
looking back at my minutes.
yeah, I think too, if she, I would, maybe need to contact her and say, you know, is there a problem? You know, if there is, you know, okay, but if there's not, then,
I think she's
She's been to a few more than that, but virtual, I think.
Virtual, but I know she's missed several and hasn't called or contacted or.
yeah, I think too, that it's probably a good idea that we would do that, so. All right, now, I lost my train of thought. Do we take a vote on,
Yeah.
on,
Yep.
okay. It's a good thing you're gonna.
The latter.
Okay, so that motion carries.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's see, we need to look at whether we want to approve disposing of a vehicle ladder rack. What it says, a ladder rack?
Yes.
Oh, yes, okay, I think there's a picture in here somewhere. I thought, oh, no, I won't be able to find it. Yeah, there we go. I mean, yeah.
Looks like a good idea to me.
Yeah, if we're not using it, and we don't,
Sell it.
like it's in good condition.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's.
Yeah, it looks like an awesome ladder
rack. If we don't need it, then, yeah.
Sell it.
And you can put it on that Gov Deals or whatever it was.
Did you sell the van or had any?
Yeah, I'm gonna announce that later.
Spoiler alert.
I'll
Okay.
make a motion to dispose of the vehicle ladder rack via Gov Deals.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to dispose of the vehicle ladder via Gov Deals. Any discussion? Okay, let's vote, please.
Mike?
Yes.
Becky? Yes. Heather?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carla?
Yes. Okay, that motion carries. All right, next is our discussion on the Leighton Express branch. Okay, Jackie, you wanna tell us what you feel like we need to look at there?
So I did give you a little bit of information, just kind of, where we are with that. But, with all of the looming funding cuts that we could be potentially facing, for the use that we're getting from the Express branch, versus what we're paying out, it's not matching up. I think, well, and I had the numbers in there, I'm trying to find where my sheet is.
What makes it an express branch?
So it's not a full branch, we do not, their staff are not our staff, there's school staff there.
Oh,
And so we reimburse them for the hours that they're open as a public library.
It's in the school.
Oh.
And so it's actually the school
It's the
library,
school
and then we
library.
have a certain amount of books that are in there that are trailed.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
The,
okay.
the YA and the adult collection is ours, and then
Okay.
the younger kids
Is
is theirs.
Okay,
And then, but anybody, you know, Trails patrons can check
Can
out
use
the
it.
younger stuff too,
okay.
and vice versa.
Okay.
And so, yeah,
Thank you
they're
for
open
explaining.
16, depending on the weeks, they were doing one Saturday, so it was 16 hours most weeks, and then the one week they were on Saturday, it was 20 hours.
And how long have you been, has there been an express branch there like that?
Ooh,
When is it?
I was gonna say, this is
20,
oh, I mean, that was when we.
Yeah, that's the new
did it,
one,
we
yeah.
did it, so it was before that.
I'm not sure. It's been a while.
5 years?
It's been long, I'd say probably closer to 10.
That's okay,
yeah.
I just needed that.
Yeah,
I'm just
been there
trying to
quite
get
a while.
idea. Okay, that's all I know. Thank you so much.
Many times you have a report from.
Yeah,
Right.
So I don't get to see any stats on
Yeah,
the.
yeah.
And that's, you know, we meet with, we're required by the agreement that we meet with them at least once a year on how things are going. And we actually met with, Deanna is the manager's name over there. And we met with her last July to talk about some of the issues that we were having because we weren't getting reports and things like that. So how are you supposed to know how things are going if we're not getting those reports? Also, we had started, having some programming over there, story times and things like that. But, you know, just like we expect our branch managers to do that, to communicate with the public services manager, whoever's over programming and marketing and all that, we're not necessarily seeing that reciprocated. So we did change the email group for our branch managers. It's now a managers group, and so she used to be included in that email group, and this was on us. We cut her out, not really realizing what we'd done. But then it took her until May 1st, I believe, and then she's like, hey, what are we doing for summer reading? But we hadn't really heard from her. And she hadn't heard from us either.
And is she an employee of the school district?
She is.
Or an employee of the library here?
Of the school district.
Okay,
We
okay.
just reimburse them their salary for those hours that they're open for public library.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, so if we have a problem with the branch manager, do you contact her or do you contact the school?
Typically, we normally have been contacting her, but I think it's probably to the point, and that's why I kind of wanted to have this preliminary discussion, because if we're gonna meet with a superintendent or whatever, we probably need to, you know, decide if we're gonna look at changing things with that. I did read, I believe we have to give them, is it a year? I forgot how long of a notice that we have to give them before we can terminate.
Oh, that's
the
in the
agreement.
contract.
Yeah.
I did read that.
Yeah, I got that.
I think it's a year.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
I'm looking, you know, at the stats that you have in here, it's like,
Mhm.
starting with, I mean, June through August, they had 15 programs last year.
Mhm.
And then the last 4 months of the year, they had 2 programs with 13 attendees,
Mhm.
and then you haven't got any info from January.
Mhm. And just to kind of put it in perspective, that June through August is when we had the dinosaurs last summer. And I believe she had 50 some odd people at that event. So the other 15, or, you know, the other 14 programs were very, very low
Very low
attendance.
attendance. Okay,
So,
yeah, I forgot about
You know,
that.
Susan ended up, not being in that day, but anyway, I met with Deanna, and we had a conversation, went over the same thing, you know, we met last year. She did tell me that she had been sending in the reports, so Susan did not get them, that's who they go to, so I don't know what happened there. You know,
Technically, is she an employee, she's an employee of the school
Of the school.
district. And we just reimburse the school for her services.
Mhm.
So technically, she's not an employee of
No,
Trails.
she's not.
So I would hate to see them lose their library privileges over a miscommunication with their librarian. If we haven't contacted the school board,
Mhm. Well, and it's not even just the communication piece, it's the usage is more why I'm saying, because, yeah, we could deal with that by going to, you know, the superintendent or whatever with their employee. But it's the usage, because even, you know, the monthly stats, those are checkouts. And that's for a whole year, 168 for fiscal year 22.
Yeah, but I mean, what's the population of Lee? It's not that big a town.
Right, but even, are they smaller, about the same size as Quarter or Waverly?
Actually, I think it's bigger than Quarter or Waverly.
Yeah. But even if you said the same size, their 1 month is more than what their annual checkout is.
Can you help me
So with
find?
the cost, we're reimbursing their salaries, and I think I have the numbers in there.
Yep.
Approximately, what is it, 12,000?
That's what I was trying to find the number, of how much it has cost us to support that. It's 12,000 and.
Yeah, approximately that's a quarter is when we pay those quarterly. And now we started doing it monthly, which is according to the contract, but, we had been doing it quarterly. So anyway, so yeah, you multiply that by, oh, sorry, that's annually, I'm
12,000
sorry.
a year.
I'm
Okay.
reading my sheet wrong. But anyway, and so for basically what we're paying out to keep that branch going, because we send the courier once a month, or once a week, so that's cost there, for no more usage than we're getting. So whenever I did meet with Deanna, we went over again, you know, that we're still seeing the same communication issues that we were having last year that we talked about. But then also the low usage and everything. And so she didn't want it to completely go away, and I don't necessarily want it to completely go away either, but we may have to, whether it's reduce hours or whatever, to kind of make it where it's more cost efficient, if you will. Either way, we have to give a year notice on.
Well, my question is this, are we about libraries, or are we about parking lots and sidewalks? 'Cause we didn't bat an eye spending $60,000 to build sidewalks back here, but we're complaining about $12,000 for a library. It's an actual, used as a library. So, are we about libraries, or are we about parking lots and sidewalks?
And that's why I'm bringing it to the board.
What extra hours during the week, are we paying?
It's been 16 hours a week with the 1 week that they do the Saturday, because they do 4 hours on Saturdays.
Yeah.
That week is 20 hours, and so that's what we're reimbursing.
But I meant, what hours extra is she doing more than the school?
Oh, gotcha, so the
Yeah,
public library, so
public,
trail
yeah.
time.
Uh-huh.
So it's in the evening, because it has to be after school, because of the security and all that, they can't let the public in when the school is going on.
Yeah.
So it's after school hours, so it's in the evening, and then the one Saturday. And then during the summer, the hours change, because obviously they can be open during the day and things.
Is that every evening, or is it just certain days of the week?
Just certain days
Just
of the
certain
week, as
days.
far as I know, yeah.
Is there a reason why the, checkouts, they went in half over a year, from fiscal year 24, it went from 323 down to 184, I mean, that's quite a steep drop in just.
Of course, that was at the end of April, so we still had 2 months in this fiscal year. But yeah, it's a big difference.
Yeah, that's not a whole lot of checkouts.
And of course, you know, and I thought she was gonna be here tonight, so I don't know if she had something come up or whatever,
Well,
so.
but you said something too about, she lost a part-time employee, so maybe she's, because she lost the part-time employee, maybe she's not actually having the library open all the
No,
hours.
they still open, it's just, there's 2 people so they had 3, they had a part-time person and then her, and then there's another person that was doing it. Well, the part-time person is leaving, and so they won't be doing it anymore, but it's still the same hours, it would just be divvied up a little different.
So you're paying the same amount regardless of,
Mhm.
yeah, just
Yeah.
how many hours it's open, is
Mhm.
when you're paying for someone's time, not necessarily her or that, but those hours of time.
Correct.
So we don't know if in the community, like, it's been advertised like for the reading program or anything to try to bring patrons in.
Surely they have to do some through the school, I mean.
I don't know.
I mean, if.
I'm not sure what all, I mean, when she does flyers, so there's flyers that we put out, you know, it gets advertised, I'm pretty sure on Facebook, just like all of our other branches do, but that's when it's done. I mean, we can't,
I mean, is the Leeton School District, are they aware that there's a problem?
no, that's what I'm saying, we haven't gone to, other than talking to Deanna, we have not gone to the superintendent yet. So, if you guys wanted to entertain reducing hours or whatever, I figured it would be better to take it all at one time instead of,
Well, I mean, if we're talking about cutting the budget, I would rather cut the sidewalks and the parking lot in Concordia than take away a library from Leeton. If it comes down to a budget thing, but I really feel like the school board should be, or the school should be notified that there is a problem. And Trails is entertaining cutting hours or maybe closing that branch or,
Who did we negotiate the contract with?
it was with the school board, I believe. I don't
Right,
know.
so it seems like if we were going to change that, we should be negotiating with them.
Right, I'm not asking you guys to make any changes, it's just a discussion tonight on the situation.
Okay.
Because we are, you guys approved the meeting date, so we will be there in July, so that would be a good time
Yeah, it just seems like
when
we
we're
need
already
more,
there.
more conversation partners.
Yeah,
I think it would be better, and as I said, I don't know how many evenings and stuff that it's open, but I think it would be almost better because I don't want to get rid of the library totally
Mhm.
there, but to cut down the number of evenings it's open so that, you know, if it's open,
So the website says it's open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 3:30 to 7:30.
there you go.
My concern is maybe that's not accurate because it also says summer hours and it gives, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and says Saturday, June 11th, July 9th, and August 13th, but that is not.
That was last summer is what those hours are, we haven't.
It must have been a couple of years ago, because I think
It might be.
June
yeah.
11th is a Tuesday.
Yeah,
So
we haven't updated
you
that,
know,
she just got her
those
recommended
hours
hours.
may still
too.
be accurate, but I'm not
so
sure.
if it's open 3 evenings a week, you can cut it down, you know, to 1 evening plus Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that gives,
It does still say that they're implementing COVID-19
Yeah,
precautions
pretty
for
old.
entry, including 6 feet social distancing and limited occupancy
Oh,
on our website.
Oh, okay.
So
So we need to-
I don't know when it was updated, but
I know the hours had been updated and those should have been accurate, so those should be the current hours. And then we haven't updated the summer hours yet on there. She just got those to us.
So our main issue is that it's not getting used enough to be of value for the input, financial input.
For what we're putting
We're
in
not-
here, yeah.
well, I'm thinking, I would rather investigate and see why the numbers
Oh,
have
yeah.
dropped off
I was just trying to figure out.
before even considering closing it.
Yeah, that's why we're having the discussion
Yeah.
tonight. to see
I was
what
just trying to get
direction
an
you
idea
guys
of, like,
kinda
what-
wanted to go.
Do you think maybe we could get somebody from the school board to come to the meeting next?
That's what I was hoping, that July meeting, if you guys had approved those,
Yeah.
the meeting dates and time, and locations, then that would be a good time, because we're
I
gonna be.
think that's a
in-
good idea.
yeah, because I mean, I wouldn't like to close it. I mean, Leeton is out, way out in the boonies. It's not close to
Mhm.
anything out there for a library.
Yeah, I would rather address like why the numbers have fell off and see if we can't bring those numbers up and,
Or cut down the
or
hours.
cut down maybe a few hours. If there's certain days that they're not getting any traffic or anything, then cut those days out and make it more feasible for people to come.
I think Saturday mornings and then one evening is,
She said Saturdays they don't come,
they don't come on Saturdays?
so she's actually cutting Saturdays out,
Oh,
for the
I thought
summer,
Saturday
because
morning
she
would
said they
be
don't
out.
come.
You know, people have their own things they're doing on Saturday.
Yeah, I think.
So I mean, it would be no different than if you did one day on Saturday or 2 days.
2 days,
Yeah,
yeah,
two weekdays.
2 weekdays.
Yeah. But I think what you're saying, we're saying, yeah, you need to have a discussion with them, and then maybe it's a good idea to like have someone come to the board meeting and see if we can work out something
Yeah.
to make it feasible to keep it, but also to make it more cost effective.
And that, you know, and whenever Deanna and I met, and we were discussing all of this, and she said she really wasn't surprised because of everything that's going on, you know, the IMLS funding and all of that. She said, I figured if there was a branch that was gonna have to close, it would be us. And I said, well, wait, we're not to that point yet, you know, don't panic or anything.
But the number of programs she still cut down on, because if you're looking even, if you take away June through August, which was the dinosaur and the thing last year, June through May had 17 programs. And then the June through August of 23 had 10 programs, and then you're looking at September through December had only 2 programs.
Well, we're looking at just programs. What about like checkouts and stuff? Are they still utilizing the books?
There's no stats, so you don't know.
So,
You don't know.
part of the well, we have the annual checkouts there for the whole year that I have listed there for you, fiscal year 22 through 25.
Yeah.
But she did say that, 'cause remember, our collection is, so it's our stuff that's getting checked out. So they could be using it and checking out the little kids' stuff, which we're not getting the stats from that. So that is possible. But, with the YA and the adult collection, so she did tell me that most people place holds, and then they're just coming to pick them up and coming to drop their stuff off. She did say, it would be nice if we could do a book drop, because a lot of, like, they can't come during the day, and she cannot unlock that door just for them to turn the books in. And so she said that would be a big help, if we could do something like that. And then, again, they're not browsing the collection, they're just picking up. So if they're not utilizing the collection, if they're not using it in-house or anything like that, maybe it just is open a short amount of time or certain days just for them to come and pick up their holds. So, I mean, I think we have a lot of options, available or open to us, but, yeah.
How much does one of the book drop containers cost?
Depends on what size you get. I want to say, it would be a smaller one, but the one we bought, just for comparison, the big one that we bought out here for Warrensburg, I want to say it was like close to 7,000. Yeah, because they have to be waterproof and, you know, all of that stuff, so. A lot of people think you can turn other ones, other type of things, like old newspaper, yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise your books get ruined, and that doesn't save you any money either. Okay. So, okay, are you satisfied with what we've said? or
Yeah, I
do
just
you-
wanted to start the discussion with you guys, and then, like I said, when she had requested that the July meeting be there, I thought, well, that'd be a great opportunity,
So
that
you
if we
probably
want
gotta try
to speak
contact
to
her
them.
between now and then.
Okay.
Talk to, see what's going on, yeah, okay. Okay, sounds good. All right, and the next discussion is on the lump sum payment of the Odessa building, and you're thinking maybe we need to step back on that, or budget purposes, good grief.
Oh, yeah, this is the other, okay. So, we had budgeted, in for this fiscal year, so I had planned to make a big lump sum payment. And so we had budgeted to pull out of developmental reserves $110,000, and then, in lieu of putting in the $60,000 that we normally do into developmental reserves, we would just put that $60,000 towards that, so it was $170,000 payment. And so, and I do have some numbers, hold on. I did look up the balance, so currently, we owe $368,636, or $37, $637, if you round it. And so that's what we currently
When you
owe.
say 368,
368,637.
37, okay.
So what I'm proposing is that we don't make that go ahead and carry that over, put it in the budget next year, kind of as a placeholder, and then if we needed to use that money for something else, or the revenues don't come, you know, if there's the funding cuts, things like that, then we have some wiggle room. But if we make that payment now, we don't have that wiggle room.
But we do make a payment on that.
Oh, yes,
Is it just the interest payment, or is it,
part's interest and part is,
is it a monthly payment?
it is.
Isn't it like 7,000?
It's a little, just barely over 7,000, like
Yeah.
7,036 and some change, I think, so. And then, of course, now we,
This
are-
would just be enough to pay it down, or knock the
yes, we
interest
would put
down.
that towards the principal and,
Yeah, knock the interest down.
yes.
Do you know what the interest is on that loan?
I didn't bring that with me.
That's okay.
I looked it up at one time for the foundation, but, I don't have it off the top of my head. Lost my train of thought.
Can you tell me, is our fiscal year January to December, or is it? a
July
mid-year?
1 to June 30.
Okay, thank you.
So anyway, so just wanted to see if you guys wanted me to go ahead and make that lump sum payment this year as we had put in the fiscal year 25 budget, or if you want me to carry that over just in case.
So like an emergency fund.
Yeah, 'cause, I mean, I'm putting budget together, and I did get you the draft, but I have had to make some pretty deep cuts in certain areas, and I'm still at the one that you have is 65,000 shortfall, it's not balanced. But I have since had to add some things in, so we're now sitting at an $80,000 shortfall. So I've got to make cuts and come up with that somewhere, and I don't even have we don't even have the tax levy information yet, which comes early August and
So,
things like that.
If we're having this big budget crunch, why are we pouring sidewalks?
Because it was budgeted for that, and so we're moving along with some of those projects.
We can't stop any of those projects?
I mean, I guess we could.
We may have to.
I mean, y'all would probably need to let me know tonight if that's what you chose to do, because they're getting it on the books to do it, and we've already signed the contract too.
Oh.
I can't, okay.
I'm not sure what the budget's gonna end up looking like, because we don't know.
I don't know why these were even presented if we're having this big of a budget crunch. They shouldn't have even been presented. They should have been put on hold. I understand the board voted on them as a collective, but, I really think it was a bad choice to present them.
Well, I'm just following the strategic plan and what we had budgeted.
I understand.
And, I mean, I didn't know that the budget was gonna end until I started working on the budget, what the numbers were actually gonna look like.
And is that a typical shortfall for the year, or is that because of the government changing things?
Well, some of it has to do with the expenses that we have. We've had, some things have gone up, like insurance, it
Right.
just keeps going up, things like that. And, again, I could have balanced it, but I wanted to stop cutting
Right,
it
right,
until
right,
I
right.
knew how much money we would have as carryover, as we got a little closer to the end of the fiscal year.
Okay,
And then because I didn't know if that House Bill 903 was gonna
well, that's what I
pass.
was wondering, yeah.
And that would've hit us very, very deeply.
Well, that's
And
what
then,
I'm
of course,
saying.
the IMLO stuff.
And if we pour these sidewalks and do this stuff that we approved,
Mhm.
and then later on, we have to cut a lot of programs and have to do a lot of things, so what do you want? Do you want library services, or do you want sidewalks?
I think we want both.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can't have both. It's gonna come down to one or the other.
Well, let's take a look.
So that's what we're working on, is to try to make it
Actually, the
happen
money
for
we
both.
have, I think it would be different, but we have to make
Yeah.
decisions based on
Yeah.
what we think and,
Well, I think $60,000 worth of sidewalks is a luxury. It's not something we have to have. And we need to think about the things that we have to run our library services.
Well, so do you think if we hold back on this and you have that, was it 170,000 as a, whatever you called it a backup or whatever,
Just-
that would probably be feasible.
And it may be that, you know, if you guys voted to do that, it may be that we can, you know, do 100,000 on the lump sum payment versus
Yeah.
170, you know, but that would give us some time to kind of figure out
Okay.
how things were going to look and what we could do.
But is there a certain time when you can make a lump sum payment?
You
or
can do it any
That's
time.
what I thought, yeah, okay.
And that was approved in the budget for this year.
It was, yeah.
So I make a motion that we hold that payment until we see how we're doing into the next fiscal year. So that we don't make that payment as planned, and instead hold that money and see where we are, when we get into next year.
I'll second.
Okay, a motion is been made and seconded. Okay, a motion was made to hold the lump sum payment to the Odessa branch until we see how the budget's gonna pan out. Any more discussion? All right, can we take a vote, please?
Mike,
Yes.
Becky, yes. Heather,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Patty,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Harlan.
Yes.
All right, that motion carried. All right, the next item is discussion on the draft budget. It should be in your packet. And you said you had added some things in there, instead of, you said 80,000.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
What is that conservation PILT and the receipts?
That is, that's a type of, tax that we end up getting, but it's not figured in our tax levy. So when I do the paperwork and figure that, that's just on the property taxes, and those are a little bit different. So we do pull in, about 200,000, and so I separated that out.
So when we pay for stuff like the sidewalk, where, like, can you show me where that's coming from? in the
It's
budget
gonna come
for
out of
2025?
your capital expenses on that second page, second to last category there.
Okay. And is that, this sidewalk would be coming out of 2025 though, or would it be coming out of 2026?
We're hoping for it to come out of 25, because that's
Okay.
where it was budgeted.
That's what I was trying to see, yeah. So back on the 2025 budget. Okay.
So the contract was signed on that, when will they start?
I haven't heard yet whether we have a start date, but, I think they were working on trying to get that on the schedule.
Very, very soon.
Yeah.
Because I believe in Rogers,
Did he put it in his report? I think he's working with them, he was working with them. to
signed
get it signed up.
contracts. He doesn't want to say, but it says it very quickly.
Trying to
I mean,
work
I
on-
understand the sidewalks out here in the front because they could be a liability issue for patrons. How many people actually use these, like, travel from this building to the other building?
Typically staff, but then when they have programs back, where the trees are in the shaded area, then we have patrons that are back there as well. People walk their dogs through there, I mean, all kinds of stuff.
Okay.
Okay, any more questions about the budget? Anything that you're?
Is there any way we could cut down, expenses for the courier?
The only way is if you don't run it every day.
We didn't used to run it every day, did we?
We have since I've been here. I would say they probably have at least since they've been part of Missouri Evergreen. But I would think probably the whole time, because between the branches, even before they joined Evergreen, I would think.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's a big expense.
Well, the state pays for three, sorry, that's a different courier, never mind. You're talking our courier.
I'm talking about the courier that runs from our
We do
branch.
pay some for the Mala courier, which is the Evergreen courier.
I mean,
and we have our expenses.
I don't understand why they have to go to every branch every day.
And that's something we
I'm just, that's just throwing that out there.
I can see that, yeah.
Well,
But
but
there's
that's
such a
not
wide
fall under, you're
variety.
saying, do we wanna do sidewalks or we gonna do library services? It's a service to
Well,
patrons.
we're saying we gotta cut things, so if we pour sidewalks, we gotta cut something else. I'm saying though, that what if they did like Lafayette one day, and they did Johnson County another day? Or maybe whichever ones are
Yeah.
closest, but I don't understand why they have to hit every branch every day.
Like 4 days a week, 2 days to one county and 2 days to the other.
Yeah, I don't understand why we're running to every library every day.
Well, when,
That's a lot of miles on the vehicle, tires.
day, or just if there was something, I mean, is there something every time?
yeah,
No, they run every day.
but there is stuff to take every day, because we have the Missouri Evergreen, so we're pulling from, how many, 80-something libraries across the state. And so some of the holds and everything that come in are from Missouri Evergreen. So that is saving us on our interlibrary loan, where before we would have to do that, go out to find it, go out to other libraries. This way they can do it within our Evergreen catalog, place our own holds and requests, and then they come in Monday through Friday, they come in through the Mala courier. We separate it, put it into all of our 9 branches, and then they take it and deliver those every day. So it would hold up how fast, our patrons receive their materials if you did run it at least Monday through Friday. But
But only $8,000 for the courier services?
Yeah.
I'm reading 8,200.
That's probably, that's not all the expense, because
are
there's
you talking about?
Yeah, how much?
van upkeep. That can't be, it can't all just be $8,000, because you gotta figure
No, that's
oil changes and tires and,
the one that says,
Gas.
and I'm not even seeing it.
Yeah.
It says courier rate.
Vehicle operations.
Oh, right there, yeah, I was overlooking it. That is the Mala courier. So our courier
It's this
expenses are
one.
under vehicle, operations.
Oh.
And of course, that, we have more than one vehicle, so it's not all just courier stuff.
They cut 14
Yeah, you've cut it.
from 18.
Well, we have a new van now, so
Oh.
it's not as much maintenance that we got
There you
last
go.
year, the new courier van.
Good.
but we're making
So we don't
payment
have
on
as
it.
much maintenance.
Yeah.
No, we paid it, it's paid off.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah.
So we're actually saving 4,000.
Is there anything we'd be breaking in the agreement with Evergreen if we didn't offer?
I'd
the
have to
service
check into that.
every day?
I would have to check into that. I know we have the materials come in 5 days of the week, so the state pays for 3 of those days, I believe, for the public libraries, and then we pay, that's the $8,000 for the whole year, for those other 2 days a week that we're paying for. So, I mean, we're almost gonna be paying for nothing. We're locked in, I'll just tell you, Evergreen is locked into another year already. They've signed the contract, so we can't back
So-
out. We're stuck fiscal year 26
Well,
anyway.
I understand,
So
I
it's
understand.
$14,000 a year is what the budget for that is? That's $270 a week? And that's what we get books and stuff delivered to patrons, right, at each different branch?
Correct, yes.
So, you have 2025, that's what's left in the budget from 2025,
Where are you at? You
on the budget. Because you have 2025, and then you have 2026.
Yes,
So 2025 is what we have left in the budget.
no, that's
That's
what the
the
budget
cost.
was. That's
That's
what
what
the
the-
budget was.
was for last year.
Yes,
But
what you
this
got
is what the
approved.
budget is for this year.
That's the one, the draft that I'm working on for this year so far.
But I don't know, I'm just kind of, I try to do the math in my head, but that sounds like about $300 a week to deliver library services. That's, you know, to me, I understand cutting, that just doesn't seem like, you know, a very big number to me, that we would worry about $300 a week operation cost for that. But that's just my opinion.
Confused on which one you're talking about, the Mala Courier or the
No, I'm
vehicle
not-
operation?
He's talking about vehicle.
I was talking
Okay,
about
I
the
just
vehicle
wanna make sure I
operations is $14,000.
Thank you.
Is there a danger that the, Evergreen will be cut out of the state budget?
So, they've already approved the budget, so the numbers for the state library, as far as, public library, you know, libraries, the state library, those numbers are the same as fiscal year 25. So that did stay in, of course, you know, the governor can always withhold, you know, that's happened in the past, but hopefully that won't happen, but it is in the budget, made it in the budget that they approved.
I think they fixed it so he couldn't do a line item veto.
Oh, okay. Anyway, so on the main thing is the IMLS stuff, so the Mala Courier, 50% of those funds from the IMLS has been released. They are saying that the other 50% is supposed to be released. They had originally said that by the end of May, but anyway, they're supposed to be releasing those. What is up in the air now would be the budget that they're currently working on at the federal level. That's, I think, in committee still, that they're fighting over that, or discussing.
Got out of committee, they're just, the whole Congress
Oh, is it now? Okay.
is fighting it, yeah.
Okay, there's so much that's been going on, it's hard to keep up with all of it.
But then it still has to go to the Senate.
Right,
The
right.
Freedom Caucus is putting a,
So that is kind of where that is, and then there's things that, the state library had planned, you know, that if it's not included in the budget for fiscal year 26, then there would have to be some changes. So they, like OCLC, which is traditional interlibrary loan. We also, a lot of libraries use that for cataloging. We have actually, moved to something else, and so we've dropped that piece of it. The state library actually picks up OCLC, so what we call traditional interlibrary loans through WorldCat, if anybody's familiar with that. So not Evergreen. And so that would be something that we would probably, because it is so expensive, the state library pays over $9,000 on our behalf for that annually. And so and that's kind of still up in the air too, but I think they were supposed to let me know by today whether we were gonna be dropped from that contract or not. Because they're working with OCLC and kind of trying to negotiate, but everything, you know, is still kind of up in the air.
Okay, do we need to approve this draft budget? No, okay.
I bring it to you guys in May as a draft, just so you have your
Okay,
eyes
that's
on it.
what I thought, but I just wanna make sure.
How much is left in the emergency fund for this fiscal year?
A full 60,000.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, if you look on there on carryover, right now I'm looking at 340,000 for carryover.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that we'll have more than that. If we do, the cuts won't be as deep.
okay.
Aren't we supposed to hold back so much of our,
That's in our reserves.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what they call it. but
Yeah.
You have to,
Operating reserves.
you have to always carry that back there, you can't spend it, you have to have it
Yes.
in there.
For the record, there's only 2 months left, and vehicle operations only is 9,000 for this year. Like, it was budgeted 18, but they've spent 9.
Yeah.
So they're not spending that much on it anyway.
I think one of
Yeah,
the
and
vans-
again,
I
we're
think-
talking less than $300 a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
even
the
spending that.
facilities van still had to go in for like routine maintenance, so that will come out of this one, but, yeah.
Yes.
'cause you never know, that one's
Right.
kind of hit or miss,
No,
you
that's
don't know
what I'm
how many.
saying. You're not
times
really
it's
The
gonna
old
be-
van, we had to work on it a lot.
Yeah.
Got rid of that clunker.
Okay, so tell us about the old van.
Are we there? Are we ready for announcement?
Yeah, are we done? Any more
Yeah.
discussion on the draft budget?
Yeah.
Okay, then, yeah, sure.
Okay, so, the auction ended yesterday, it was supposed to end at 3:00, but evidently if, in this platform, if somebody puts a bid in at like the last second, it automatically puts 3 more minutes on there. So give somebody else a chance to up your bid. And so, oh gosh, it went on for nearly 20 minutes after 3, I think, because they just kept, but we
Very
ended up with
exciting.
$6,600 is what it
Wow.
ended up going for.
Diesel.
Yeah, and when it was counting down, it was like 4,100 or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that last few minutes,
Ooh,
it
that's
really
good for you.
bumped up there.
Some people are waiting,
Yeah,
watching,
Yeah.
clicking.
I didn't realize how much, it was exciting, we watched the countdown, because we thought, oh, it'll be done at 3, and then it kind of kept on going.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's good, that's very good. Okay, now we need to,
I have another.
go ahead, I'm sorry.
I have a couple. So you were talking about the sidewalks earlier, so we had talked about the old steps there on North Street, that were kind of a liability. Not kind of, they are a liability. We did go ahead and ask them, and they put that in there, so it's a slight increase, just a few $100s, I think, for them to demo, get rid of those steps out of there. So, there will.
Where?
In the back, those steps that go down to the street from where the house was there, and they're all broken and everything, and so, they said, yeah, but it was minimal charge that they added to that, so. And then the other thing I wanted to read you an email from one of our employees, she's at the Lexington branch, Terry. So, we did the Bean Stack Staff Challenge, Reading Challenge, just so the staff could learn more as a patron, how to use Bean Stack. So anyway, so we had, prizes they could earn and all that, kind of part of the recognition and all of that. But anyway, she said, as I finished eating a piece of pizza, and then she put in parentheses, we all love Casey's Pizza, and I was so happy that I could share it with my manager and coworker. The thought most prevalent in my mind was I definitely needed to thank someone for the reward. It has been wonderful to have changes made as far as employee recognition, no matter how big or small the recognition, ! All these types of changes had been woefully neglected. I have been really fortunate to have awesome coworkers and manager. Barbara, though she tells it straight and goes by the book, is a pleasure to work with. Not a shift goes by without her saying thank you. So thank you all for all the different ways the employees are being positively recognized. Most sincerely, Terry Service, Lexington Branch. So I wanted to share that with you guys because, the board has been a big part of that, so. I think that was all.
That's fine. Good to know.
And I was gonna talk about the update, but we already did that with the budget stuff, with the Missouri State Library and IMLS.
Okay, so you're done with your announcements? Okay, so now we need a motion to, do we have to adjourn this meeting and then?
Nope.
No.
You vote, take a vote.
Yeah, we need a motion to move into closed session.
No, once we close, yeah, all that will happen.
I move that we go into a closed session.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to move into closed session. Please call a vote.
Right, Mike?
Yes.
Becky, yes. Heather? Yes. James?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Carly?
Yes.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Bobby. Here. Yeah, okay, we have.
It is, yes.
Yeah, I'll just put it in my folder.
Okay.
Okay, you gotta wait until she shuts off the live feed. Did you write down the time, Becky?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
You stopped the last reading then.
You guys have your, any of these